Welcome everyone to this evening's presentation on the human energy system. My name is Donna Mitchell-Moniak and I join you from Spirit Fire Meditative Retreat Center. It's a joy to be with you. Many of you are familiar with these online presentations and know to please put any comment or question in the chat box, and we'd love to dialogue with you. I'll check it periodically and see if there's anything that needs any response. The human energy system is a very full subject. My intention for this evening is to simply give a little bit of an overview of what my intention is for the 4-week upcoming class. Love to have you join me for that online class. So more about that later. The human energy system comprises various chakras, and some people know what that word means and some people don't, so we'll get to that. But first, did you know that Ajna, your brow chakra, is related to perception, all forms of perception, and therefore the perception of an animal, of a tree, of the planet, of your neighbor, all different types of perception, all range and layers of it, are related to the brow chakra. Did you know that your solar plexus chakra is indicated in how sweet you are, if you crave sweets, and even if you have diabetes? Did you know that your root chakra, the base chakra, the one within our pelvis, is speaking to you throughout the day? It is doing so through personal habits such as avoidance, control, stubbornness, the ability to take a stand for all good reasons, as well as, again, for stubbornness reasons, as well as boundaries. Do you have a good sense of boundaries? Are they clear for you? Do you know when to draw them? Or are boundaries loose, variable, or maybe not even existent? The root chakra or the base chakra is indicated in all of these behavior patterns and personal habits. The human chakra system is involved in every aspect of our life. There is no aspect or function of being human that the chakras are not involved in. This is significant. I think that there is a lot of information out there about, let's say, the second chakra, the sacral, and let's say relationships or love or security. And that is true. Yet my goal with even this brief overview tonight and the 4-week class is to explore the chakra system and the subtle anatomy for more of its range, and in doing so, to give you definite tools and information that whereby you can grow yourself more and understand yourself more. It's a huge and important tool to understand. So understanding this, the chakras in small measure or larger, leads to understanding of oneself. As you might know, the Vibrational Excellence series has comprised of 4 introductory lectures. This is the 3rd, and 4 online courses, each of them 4 weeks long. And again, the one upcoming on chakras and subtle anatomy is the 3rd. Each of them has taken up a particular kind of point of view or orientation regarding the vibration that a human being is, and how to bring forward more of one's vibrational excellence, that is to say, one's excellence as a human being through the various ways by which our vibrational nature, through kindness, creativity, through insight, our wisdom, through touch and tactile interactions with one another, through relationships, etc. Not to mention our meditative practice, because one of the courses was specifically on meditation and awareness. That was the last one. And now we are engaging one on the inner substructure of being a human being and how that participates in and actually creates much of our ongoing daily expressions. And then finally, we have the fourth one upcoming early in the fall, and that will take up the 7 archetypal energy streams that condition one and qualify one's entire nature. So all of these have been a tremendous joy to do with the student body that has collected in all these lectures, these free lectures, which are also posted on YouTube, are just a joy to also to create and to offer. If you don't know, these online courses are now, kind of canned and are completely accessible after the fact. There's nothing like an online course for convenience to access it when it's convenient for you and your life, your time frames, time zone, and responsibilities of your life. All online courses, of course, no matter where you might take one through, have a low carbon footprint, and that's important these days with our eyes on the skies and global warming. They are available now should you want, so just go to spiritfire.com and check out the website. You can register there for any of the 2 completed 4-week courses and a course for the one upcoming. Certainly you can search YouTube under my name and you'll find the free lectures as well as full moon meditations, and etc. So let's engage our subject matter tonight, the human energy system. I'm sure that many, if not all the people who happen to be here live tonight are familiar with the chakra system. Nonetheless, let's just put a few things in place. A human being has many layers and parts. We are quite familiar with our dense physical body. We have to brush its teeth, comb its hair, get it dressed every day. And that body has layers of anatomy. Each layer represents a particular density. And so if we just looked at the dense physical body itself, we would discover, of course, the body, its bones, its muscles. They're kind of the most dense of this body. Then there's the circulatory system, the lymphatic system, a nervous system, craniosacral fluid system, and an endocrine system. And each of those gets a little more refined. And we might play around with the order of some of these, but we get the idea that we go from skin and bones and muscles, which are clearly the most dense, fingernails and that type of thing, to the endocrine system, which is quite subtle. These all are part of the dense physical body, and what this list does is it makes the point that even within the dense physical form, we have layers of vibrational density. So vibration and density are 2 words that can very much go together, and I think that increasingly, as we look at ourselves as a being of vibrations, then even that which is seemingly dense, it reveals that it also is vibrating and dynamic, and such that the density of our physical form, for instance, has all these layers of less dense material and less dense functioning, but nonetheless, for instance, our endocrine system is our biochemistry. Well, that's everything from moods to Alzheimer's. So this is very significant. Related to and correspondent to the dense physical body is an etheric energy body. Again, I think most people are familiar with the term aura or auric field. This is the etheric energy body that not only is around the physical body, but actually interpenetrates it. So what we are to understand from that simply is that once we start to get into the energy bodies, we then are to understand that we have many layers and even dimensions of energy bodies. So the etheric body itself has a electromagnetic quality to it, and so we call it a field. Call it a field because it certainly takes up space. It has volume. It is a scintillating, vibrating quality to us, but the idea of electromagnetic is also quite specific because we can see from this Kirlian photograph, we can see the filaments of the electromagnetic field within this photograph of a auric field. So again, just as the dense physical body has its layers and each of a more refined vibration and constituency, and therefore less dense, we are also to understand that our full range of our human beingness also has many layers. Those who've been in the previous two courses, you recognize this graphic. I have used it within each of the classes. And what we are to understand is that our dense physical body is on that particular level. Is on the manifestation, appearance, or form level. But the etheric energy body is, of course, on the vital energy layer, and that we see the term ether there, as well as chi. We could spell it ki, Qi, and the Sanskrit word is prana for that. Now, there are many variations on this fundamental theme, this theme of the layers of vibration that is a human being, the way that our constitution, dense and subtle, is put together, what it's used for, and we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. But this image is a Tibetan image, and what I want you to know, just for the sake of the image, because it is quite a full image, is that the lines going out from the center are actually pointing to representations of chakras and how the chakras are lived. So in this, because it's a Tibetan tanka, the chakras are represented by Buddhas. And the lines that go out and down are representing what these chakras point to within our life. Furthermore, we have at the very bottom a number of different scenes and kind of like compartments within that bottom layer. But please note, in the aqua blue, there are 3 yogis sitting there. And if you had a magnifying glass, you would see that they have lines, as in central channel and primary meridians, are pointed out. So the idea of a metaphysical understanding of the subtle anatomy, the chakras and the inner meridians, not only underlie various forms of healing practices, but also underlie acupuncture, acupressure, these kinds of things as well. Even massage, and so if you are a practitioner of such, then you of course know a fair amount about the metaphysical anatomy. So the chakras are radiant and jewel-like. Each of the primary chakras, we are informed that there are 7 primary in the Hindu system. The Chinese and the Tibetan use 5 as the primary number, not 7. They also place the sacral center slightly differently and speak about it slightly differently than the Hindu or Indian system. We'll touch base slightly on that within the 4-week course, but if you will, kind of modernly, the 7 system model is all over the internet, and even in this image you see the 7 points going up the center. The radiance of each of the chakras expresses through color and translucence. The challenge with learning colors for the chakras, and you see here they are represented in colors, that depends on what level we are looking at. If we're looking at the etheric level, the one that interpenetrates our physical body, then generally, but not all the time, but generally, these colors do apply. But this is one of the difficulties with the wide variety of teachings and intuitives who have clairvoyance and can perceive such things. Then there might be discrepancy or even a whole other system of colors that they might speak about. But that comes from the fact that that person must be able to perceive into other layers of the vibrational system, which then simply means to us that the chakras, as energy vortices, find their presentation on all layers of our dimensionality, not only the etheric or energy layer. The radiance that the chakras present displays itself in many ways, including through our clarity of mind. If our chakras are radiant, then we have clarity of mind. If certain chakras are more radiant than others, then that will affect, not with detriment necessarily, but it will affect how, for instance, some people are artists, and that's where their clarity comes through. Other people have clarity in a empathic way. They are empathetic people. Other people have clarity when it comes to inventiveness, as an example, or business mindedness. So there's lots of ways that clarity can display and express itself through a human being. The point is simply that that factor of clarity is related to a level of radiance within the corresponding chakra. Equally so, the radiance or the clarity of a chakra is going to display through our purity of intentions. Is our motivation pure or clear and clean? Or are we being untruthful, selfish, these kinds of things? So purity goes along with radiance. Aspiration is a high-mindedness. It has to do with altruism and care for one another. So aspiration and spiritual aspiration, to the higher nature, to God, to the divine, these kinds of things all have to do with the radiance and translucence of our chakra system. And again, related to specific chakras would then be, well, do we aspire to change the world? Do we aspire to a mystical union with God? Do we aspire to be a good parent? These kinds of different aspirations would then correspond to the chakras and how they are functioning within us, which ones are more mature, as an example. Equally so, this idea of translucence now plays out in higher emotional states, lower, denser, um, dramatized, or aggressive, or troubled emotional states. Well, these clearly could not be representing a quality of translucence, whereas translucence would represent and display through higher emotional states, patience, care, nurturance, a sense of mercy, um, altruism again, these kinds of things. And finally, refinement in the physical nature, that can display in a wide variety of ways. There's not a cookie cutter kind of presentation of that. But yet, if we feel a refinement within physical nature, then that too would be expressive of the color or the radiance or the translucence of the jewel-like nature of our chakras. And why? Because light is what we are. We are also dynamic. We are vortex-like, and the chakras certainly are. A human being, and therefore the chakras in the subtle system, are a vortex for higher vibrations and for qualities to descend, to integrate, to pour through us into expression in the world. So all of these qualities demonstrate through us as such that we can create in a wide variety of realms, the realm of thought, the realm of physical plane activity, the realm of emotion we would create through relation, through peace, through harmony, etc. Each of our chakras is a wormhole and has that wormhole quality. And in this way, again, awareness and very specific qualities pour through us because our chakras and our entire subtle system has this vortex-like quality. It is very dynamic. It is constantly in flux and flow, gyroscoping, or like the image that you see here. It is constant in its dynamism. This vortex-like quality is one of the reasons for um, the telepathic capacity of human beings, for instance, of certain animals as well. Many animals have a telepathic quality to them, not just the dog that's waiting for us at home, but flocks and schools and herds and things like this. We see elephants and how they interact with one another. There's clearly a telepathic quality going on. This is because, again, this idea of a vortex or a wormhole life is just part of actually the incarnational process of all beings that are incarnated. It also then plays out in telepathy, intuition, and even a wide variety of forms of energetic healing and physical body healing. At essence, we are dynamic. We are also multidimensional. And the chakras themselves are very intricate. They are fractal-like in nature. They are themselves dimensional. They have three, for instance, they have 3 layers of petals that I'm sure many people are aware of. But those layers of petals, if we only think about them in kind of like stacking 3 pieces of paper, so they're so rather flat plane, that's incorrect. Each of these levels or layers of petals is dimensional. And in fact, each petal is dimensional. So this then is reporting to us something that I love to say as a statement. Life builds upon itself, and consciousness and awareness does too. This is a fundamental quality of manifest existence. And we see it in the great heavens, and we see it in the sprouting of a seed, such that it will eventually grow to be either a flowering plant or a majestic tree. That plant will build upon itself. And consciousness and awareness does as well. And we know that. We know that as infants, we learned that if we drop something off the high chair, it will fall. And then we built upon that when we were learning to walk, we sometimes would fall too. And then we learned that these things that we dropped off the side of the high chair, they fell because of gravity. And we learned that through first experiencing it, and then we learned about it from a theoretical point of view in grammar school. So on and on and on. We could think about language, we could think about whatever skill that we have, and certainly the spiritual path and consciousness builds upon itself. In every case, there's a fractal quality. That is to say, whatever we have in hand is going to blossom out to another layer of itself. And that is going on multiple layers about multiple facets of information, about our spiritual presence, about our karma and our destiny, and all these kinds of things are constantly these fractals of, or these seeds, these nodules that will then open up and further themselves by actually just becoming more of what is the essence. So more of the same, but in a larger way. So this leads us to understand then that all existence is holographic. It is dimensional. And all existence is a wholeness, with everything and everyone a part of everything and everyone. The chakras demonstrate this literally in their fractal nature and in their structure, as well as their capacities. We can learn as an example and demonstrate, for instance, the sweetness, right, of the solar plexus. Instead of being miserly with that sweetness, being caustic or a sour grapes kind of person, we switch it to being an optimistic, a buoyant, a happier person. That's still solar plexus. So we go from being sour to sweet. Solar plexus, both sides of that. Well, that sweetness of nature is going to then translate into our relationships, where our relationships are not so sour. Our relationships are sweeter. And how that's going to grow us on our path, spiritual path, we're going to evolve. Ultimately, it's going to open up our heart chakra, because kindness and goodness are part of being a sweet person. And that's going to open up our heart. So we see how these things build upon one another. Essentially and simply, we are multidimensional, and we are part of the wholeness of life. We are inextricably linked, and we are necessary. To live from our fullness is necessary for us. I'm going to stop for a minute and see if there's any thoughts or questions before we take up. There's only a few more slides. It's just a quick, brief, kind of little taste of where I want to go for these 4 weeks of the class. So we'll just stop and see if there's thoughts or questions. I know it takes a minute to type, so we'll wait. While we're waiting, just because I see the number of people who are here tonight, thank you for joining me at this live time. There are almost 30 people registered for this, and clearly, they're going to take advantage of it at a time that's convenient and fits their life schedule. So again, that's the joy of online programming, is that we all have the freedom to do that. Okay, I don't see any question, so we'll continue here. So back here to this idea of did you know this and that. We could have put a sentence here about any of the 7 chakras, of course. The root or base chakra, the sacral center, at the kidney area, the solar plexus is there, the heart, the throat center, ajna, and crown are the 7 primary by, again, the Indian or Hindu system. We could have referred to the eyes, not just the broad chakra, the third eye. Our feet and our hands have chakras, of course, have centers. We have secondary centers that are very important, like the spleen, like one that is between the heart and the throat. So the point here is that the subtle anatomy pertains to every aspect of us. And to simply understand more about that as a fact is actually very worthwhile. To understand why some people are more security oriented than other people are. Well, that has to do with us, with a center, a chakra. Why some people are kind of forgiving and other people are impatient. And that's a natural demeanor. That too has to do with chakras. When we look at what we look for in a relationship, what is the nature of most of our relationships? This is within the chakra system. This is the chakras displaying in our life. When we want to, for instance, check out a supplement, see if a vitamin or herbal remedy or something like that is conducive to our etheric body. Well, there are very simple ways to do that by first trusting in the fact that our chakra system and the subtle system interpenetrate this dense form that we call our physical body, and then it's like asking, hold something in your hand and trust that the response of strength or weakness in your hand, or the intuition or feeling in your mind, yes, this is good, no, this is not, these things are very real. And questioning them is a silliness, because these intuitions, these sensations, are just as valid as having our eyes open and seeing something in a room and calling it this or that. There is actually, from an internal subjective point of view, there is no distinction between eyes open and, calling a couch, a dog, and equally so, holding something, let's say again to test, like a remedy or an herbal something, to test that is no different as far as the sensations goes. And just as we would trust our eyes, it serves us very well to trust our intuition. So you and I are layers of vibration. That point has clearly been made. And those who've been in the previous two classes, we're getting pretty used to thinking of ourselves as this. There are many ways by which these layers of vibration play out, display, manifest, and demonstrate. The chakras, the central channel along which they align right along our middle, and the essences that pour through the central channel and the chakras of allness and its bliss, of awareness and its luminosity or clarity, of harmony and its serenity and peace. These, all three, those three, chakras, central channel, and essences, are aspects of our vibration. This is maybe new to some people, that not only are we layers of vibration as a human being, but that even within this idea of layers of vibration, there are very particular ways by which those layers of vibration could be accessed and experienced and therefore understood. My hope is to explore some of this with everyone during the upcoming 4-week online class, and in doing so, to add another approach to our vibrational excellence as a human being, and therefore access it. One might ask, should I have taken the previous two courses in order to take this one? That's a very good question. And I would say no, if you have some familiarity with basic metaphysical principles that are found through multiple traditions of the world. So if you have that very rudimentary foundation from whatever tradition that you might have it, then I would say, jump in here. And should you again feel like it, the other two courses are available after the fact. They're both canned, and you could certainly take them. But I don't think, as long as someone has that, again, fundamental metaphysical background, that we are more than just our dense physical body. As long as you have that, I think that you'd be quite comfortable and find this of value to you, and not over your head. So join me for this different approach to the chakra system. There'll be plenty of traditional information in this, because the chakras are the chakras. Whether we talked about it 2,000 years ago, 500 years ago, or yesterday, from any number of sources, the chakras are the chakras. There's not much discrepancy between even the Chinese and Tibetan and then the Hindu system. and equally so. The discrepancy is not vast from different intuitives, etc., and how they approach it. And of course, I have my intuitive approach to the chakra system, but the fundamentals are the same no matter what. It's then where we go from there that is of importance to me and of creative inspiration for me as well. So join me for it. I think that it will be a lot of fun, and also some new thoughts will be put there for you all. And then finally, I think, yep, let me give credit to all the artists that have offered their artwork to our wonderful presentation. But join me for this class. So again, I'll just wait and see if there's any last minute thoughts or questions. Short presentation tonight, just because it is pretty straightforward, you know. And it doesn't look like it, so we'll let you go. Thank you for being here tonight, and I hope to see you in the class. Love you all. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful evening. Feel your vibration. Feel yourself as a vibrational being. Love you. Create your day.